Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baharakah Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the Brother Yatazakbar with the GMS Nebraska camp. This is GMS Endeavor. And in this lesson, what I want to get into is, the blessing of faith that we receive in this truth. We have been gifted the gift of faith, that has allowed us to believe what we believe and to have trust in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai in these times and in the times to come. And what really stemmed this lesson was I heard people bring up when the chip comes that people who right now have premeditatively made the decision like, hey, I'm gonna get that chip when the time comes. Their reasoning is, most of the time I hear that that's gonna be the new system, and it's like, what I'm gonna do if I don't take it? If that's gonna be the only way I'm gonna be able to buy or sell, as the scriptures prophesy in Revelation 13, then I'm gonna have to do what I gotta do. It wasn't the chip, but we can go back to the C-19, for example. And you had different Israelite groups that their leaders are saying to get it because their members of their group were at risk of losing their jobs, of being in tough situations. And so it was pushed in these groups to just get the vax, because you got to do what you got to do. And while us here at GMS, and those who are faithful, even in those who wasn't in GMS, who was faithful followers of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, they didn't get it. Even if they was at risk of losing their job, or whatever the case may be, they stayed faithful and believed that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai was going to look out, and that's going to be the very same faith that we have to have in the times that we're coming into, because that is going to be what gets us through those times. While you have people who feel as if they are going to have to get the chip because they got no choice, they're not going to be able to do anything else, they're not going to be able to sustain themselves or their kids or whatever, their faith is going to be in carnal means. Their faith is going to be in Esau's system. Our faith is going to stay rooted in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai and believing in what would seem to be impossible odds, but we know that through the Lord nothing is impossible, and that the Lord is going to look out for his servants. And when we read Isaiah chapter 33 verse 6, that sentiment is written, where it says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times." Wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of our times, and it's the wisdom and knowledge of this truth that's going to be our stability. That stability is our faith. It's our foundation. And we're going to need a sure foundation in the times that we're coming into, of leaning back on our belief, on our faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And let's read on. It says, "And strength of salvation," right? Because that foundation is going to be, everything we need to make it to the end. And we're building that foundation right now. The experiences that we go through in this time of having faith in times of uncertainty, having faith when when we're doing bad financially, or having faith when we have to lose or sacrifice certain things for the truth's sake. That's us building our foundation for the times to come. And it says what? The fear of the Lord is his treasure, because that is what is going to also keep us away from, succumbing to this world, or succumbing to onto the beast system. It's going to be our fear of the Lord that is going to be rooted in us. That's going to cause us to continue to seek the Lord, even when times are hard. But the scriptures tell us, that the Lord's servants are going to eat, that the Lord's servants are going to be okay. And we have to believe that, the Lord's word is not going to go out void. When we read Isaiah chapter 65, verse 13, what does it say? "Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. So when the times come where this current system that we're in crashes, when we are in the times that we read about in 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 9, when these stores are raided, when it's civil unrest, lawlessness out on the streets, the Lord's servants are going to be protected. The scriptures tell us that angels are going to be encompassed around those who fear the Lord. It's telling us here that when times of famine come, that those who are on the outside, the 2/3, those who aren't under the wings of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai are going to be hungry, but the Lord's servants are going to eat. Those who fear the Lord and keep his commandments are going to eat. What does it say? Verse 14, behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart. And we have to really extrapolate this precept, because let's keep in mind the times that we're going into, the times of Jacob's trouble. This is going to be a time like never before. This is going to be a very hard, grueling time. But it's saying that the Lord's servants are going to sing for joy of heart. They're going to be in an uplifted spirit in these times, even though we're going to be going through it as well. But we're going to be in a better case than a lot of these jakes out here that don't have the Lord on their side. And let's remember, this is going to be a time of death. People are going to be, dying from famine. People are going to be dying from people lifting up sword against each other, from wild beasts, bodies in the street, the love of many waxing cold. This is going to be a chaotic time. Yet the Lord's servants are going to be in good case. It says, behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And so we have to keep our faith strong in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and keep in mind that those who follow the Lord and are on his side, and the Lord is on their side, they're gonna be okay. And that has to that has to stay on our minds. That has to be our foundation, because we don't want to get into a time of where things get too hard and the pressure's on, and the squeeze starts to squeeze, and then we're like, man, I got to make something shake. I got to do something. The Lord is going to do something. The Lord is going to make something shake. Let's get Matthew chapter 6, verse 31, where it says, therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. So there's going to be times where we just got to get up and go. We may have to leave everything behind, and that's why brothers, push the sentiment that we can prepare for the times that's coming. We can stockpile and, get, food prepared and do these different things. That's totally fine. But our faith shouldn't be in whatever stockpile we have. Our faith shouldn't be in a bug out bag or some type of, I can't think of the word, some type of pantry. Because it could be the case that we have to flee away from our homes and we got to leave all that behind. But that shouldn't be where all of our faith lies. Our faith has to lie in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, because the Lord knows what we need to survive, and he's going to give us our daily bread. It says, but seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So as long as we are seeking Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, we're striving for salvation, in these times to come and in this current time, as long as we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, the Lord is going to take care of us. So let's get one more precept, and we'll end the lesson. We're going to grab Matthew chapter 7 and verse 24, because this is important. This is a very important aspect of what I'm speaking about in this lesson. Matthew 7 and 24, therefore whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. Because we're talking about that foundation, right? And we want a strong foundation. So for our foundation to be strong, we have to follow the teachings of Yahweh Shai, the teachings that we are taught in these scriptures, and continue to hold them fast. That is what is going to keep our foundation strong, because we can't just have these treasures, open to us. We can't just have this truth and not be practitioners of it, because at that point we're just hearers of the word and not doers. Our faith has to be backed up by works, and those works are shown if we are exercising the things that we read. And so that's why I mentioned that in this time we go through certain things where our faith is tested in smaller ways than they're going to be tested in the times to come. And when we, hold fast and pass these current tests that we go through on a day-to-day basis, or these smaller tests that may seem big in this time, such as having to lose a job, or having to move houses, or losing someone, or going through certain things, that when we pass those tests, that is what cements our foundation for the time to come. Because it says what? And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. So what's that rain? What are the floods that it's speaking about? That's those hardships. That's Jacob's trouble. That's, when the MOTB is rolled out, and you got to have that to buy or sell. That's what those rains and floods and all the hardships. But if our foundation is founded upon a rock, if we are cemented in the wisdom and knowledge of this truth, then we're going to be stable in those times. But let's read on. It says, and everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon sand. And the rains descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. So yeah, the point was brought home in this precept. Just we have to make sure that we're practitioners of this truth, and not just surface level believers. Just because we're listening to videos and we see what brothers are going through, and we're in the circle, doesn't mean that our foundation is strong. We have to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, and so we have to give diligence to make our calling and election sure, which means that we're paving our own way in this truth as well. So we have to continue to stay strong in the wisdom and knowledge of this truth, continue to stay strong in our faith toward Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and believe that we're going to be okay in the times to come. Where it's going to be hard. We're going to go through certain things. Some of us will be put to death in prison and all types of precarious situations. But we have to remember what these scriptures tell us, because these scriptures is what's going to comfort us and keep us stable and sane in the times to come. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Ba'arachak B'dash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of GMS, and a salutation unto the elect. Shalom.